What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 21 Generals, episode 13. I'm your host, Delthius. How's it going, everybody? Happy Valentine's Day. Hope you're having a good one. It's Friday. It's the start of the weekend. We got some tooth and tail. What else could you need? I'm hyped. So, congratulations to the Royal Knights for making it through the board game style phase of the events. Thank you, Woody Pun 7, for the host, man. I appreciate it. And where are we at? Let me pull up a graphic. I have a couple graphics here. Graphics are always good. Okay, bam. Alright, so we have in the final tournament, so from now on it's going to be like a single elimination tournament. We've got James, the faction leader, already seeding basically into the semifinals. And we've got Lego Man, Haru, Brandy, Epicosity coming in for their team. And then from the playoffs, from the meets, here's the total meet that everybody wound up with. So we've got this guy, the gentleman, and Araloo, who are going to duke it out to try to get a spot in this single elim tournament here at the very end. So I'm pretty hyped. That's where we're starting today. We're basically going to try to figure out who wins the playoffs. I think we're getting completely through the playoffs today, right? Let me take a look. Yeah, we're doing 1 and then 2, so we're going to figure out who our final top 8 is. And then after that, we're going to hop into a quarterfinals match, and that's going to be it for tonight. So we got 3 best of 5s lined up. And yeah, that is it. I hope everybody out there is doing well on this lovely Valentine's Day. Let's get into it. Match number 1. My controller will work. There we go. Okay, spawning over on the right side, we've got the gentleman and his opponent to the left, Araloo. Pretty interesting here, the gentleman rocking barbed wire and turrets. I wonder if this is a little bit of a new thing he's been working with, or maybe it's kind of pull a rabbit out of the hat style thing here, you know, trying to change it up, be unpredictable. It is a best of 5, which is really fun in Tooth and Tail. I actually heard, I forget who it was, but somebody in the Discord had mentioned, you know, why don't we do, you know, bigger best of X's? Like even StarCraft and stuff will do like best of 5 for events, and Tooth and Tail's so fast, I could honestly see that. And when you're in situations like best of 7, best of 9, even best of 5 to a lesser extent, you know, changing up the deck composition can be very critical. You know, even if you're a great player, if I know exactly what you're going to do every game, it gives me a very, very big edge. So the gentleman here, he's still got a nice comp with this, like, Squirrel Chameleon Boar core. And, you know, the defense here could be flavorful. It's a little map dependent, obviously. But we'll see. I think the core of what the gentleman has is so strong, you know, between the chameleon and the board push, that you can kind of make a timing and not necessarily need those last couple deck slots anyways. And meanwhile, Araloo just has something that's a little more tried and true bruiser, you know, heavy mid-game style deck. He's got a lot of tier 2 to choose from here. He's got the Squizzard for the early game. Both players going for very quick expansions here. The gentleman in particular is being quite greedy, and he's going to be happy when he comes in and sees that his opponent's basically going for the same thing. Araloo is about in the same position, but needs to step it up. Yeah, I really like that response of seeing 3 farms. He goes ahead and takes 4. You always want to try to be one step ahead. So these kind of mid-game, this is like, we basically just completely skipped the early game here and went straight to the mid-game. And I always find this phase of the game really fascinating. It's a little bit harder than it looks. You know, you got to really stay on top of your scouting. You know, you see these guys, they're not even trying to get all the way in. Like, it's nice if you can, from the gentleman here, just make sure you don't see a tier 3 or anything. But, like, how Araloo just scouted, he just came in and saw the farm count. Like, that's all you really need to know. And he's going to try to look around. He's might be a little bit curious. Both players here, barely any warrants. Like, this is actually kind of crazy. I don't think I've seen this much greed in a very, very long time. It's kind of interesting that the gentleman decided not to take out this cabin too. It provides a little bit of extra defense if he gets attacked, you know, as it'll pester the incoming units from his opponents. But, I mean, look at this. Both players went all the way up to 2 base full saturation on 1 tier 1 Warren. Like, that's insanity. And now we're just going to power into the big game with some crazy strong banks here, you know. 16 farm economy, and both players are going for 3 bases here too, so they're not satisfied yet. They're continuing to build up and up. The gentleman's got the boar on the way though, so this is looking good for him. Airlu never really sniffed that out, and Airlu's going for a, well, I was gonna say he's going for a tier 1 heavy comp, but he is getting in several tier 2s here. But I feel like the boar is still okay against the chameleon. It really depends on the engagement, but you know that since the chameleons are melee units, they could take a lot of damage before they really get up on that boar. Really something like the falcon or the snake is what you really want to combat that boar, so we'll see. Gentleman's got some chameleons of his own. This is crazy, like how passive both players have been. Just building up these huge armies, getting to 3rd base. Airlu even saturating that 3rd. Gentleman quite hasn't done that just yet. And he's gonna find out, he's gonna see the boar now. He's not going to be happy about that because he's totally unprepared, and here he goes. The gentleman's moving forward. I like that he built a ton of tier 1 Warrens because that's going to really help reinforce this. You know, once his army trades, he's going to be able to just continuously pump out so many squirrels at once. 9 squirrels at once, but here we go. The big engagement kicks in. And so far, this is not looking bad for the gentleman. The 3rd base goes down already. Airlu had, you know, invested several resources into that. The boar is continuing to shove forward here, still at full HP, rushing into the main base of Airlu. And finally goes down there. Gentleman's gonna retreat, but this is what I was talking about. Like, look at the reinforcement of all these squirrels. Making 9 squirrels at once is absolutely insane. Trying to target fire down these cams, but you know, Airlu's actually got a lot of skunks here, and that's gonna help shove back this reinforcing tier 1 army pretty nicely. Gent's gonna go ahead and save up for another boar. He got a lot of damage done, but he didn't quite get the killing blow in. Good defense from Airlu here. You know, these 4 skunks, I mean, skunks and chameleons, it's really interesting. Like, when you get up to 4 of them instead of 2, you know, the difference is pretty monumental. Gentleman knows what's happening. He's going to try to make some last-minute defense, but here Airlu comes. He's still got these 4 skunks here. A couple of them are only at half HP. Nice positioning coming onto this engagement. He's got his chameleons up front. He's got his skunks and the falcons in the back, getting the real damage in. And he's able to carve his way up onto the 2nd base, kind of not committing here. He really wants to focus down this gristmill, but he also doesn't want to trade his army too ineffectively. However, if Airlu can get this gristmill, yeah, that's a really big victory. As long as the gentleman doesn't just straight up win off this counterattack, then Airlu is in a phenomenal spot. If I'm Airlu here, man, I'm really hoping I can kill this boar before the rest of my army vanishes. And that boar gets so low, but eventually Airlu makes a pretty smart call, and he's able to escape with several of these tier 2, very expensive, very useful units still alive, which is nice. You know, they all got low, but they made it out of there. But the 3rd base is up and cooking for the gentleman here, and he does have that boar, so he's not out of the game just yet. Man, this is pretty crazy. I'm liking Airlu's spot, to be honest, but I think the gentleman's still got a chance. Good scouting here, just gonna try to figure out exactly what he's up against. He's rallying his chameleons, but where are the chameleons? Are they in a spot where they could just kind of walk there unfettered? Man, I have no idea where his chameleons are. Oh, no, they're just at home. Maybe he was trying to feign to Airlu that he was going to come in and delay. That's actually really smart if that's what he was up to. To try to say, hey, you don't want to attack me right now because I'm backdooring you with chameleons. And here Airlu goes, and he's gonna... Oh my god, that boar lives. Very nice control from the gent here. However, he doesn't have a whole lot left to support this boar. It is eventually going to go down. Man, this match is an absolute bloodbath. But I think maybe Airlu here, with this falcon, with all these pigeons, does he finally break through? The 3 pigeons here are really making a big difference in the front line. especially these little skirmishy engagements, and the gentleman knows what's up, taps out. Really cool match number 1. All right, let's keep it rolling. Match number 2. Let's go. Spawning in the bottom left with the same deck, we've got Araloo. His opponent up to the top right, the gentleman. Kind of running the same concept here, but playing a bit more standard. You know, dropping those defense for the lizard for the falcon. I think that makes sense. I really like the gentleman's deck here. I think it's a quite good meta deck. Araloo's deck is great too. I'm just personally, I like having that tier 3 option available. Like these tier 1, tier 2 style decks I've never really delved into myself, but they definitely work and they're definitely good. A little bit of a smaller map here, and Araloo doesn't have access to a third. So I don't think Araloo's going to be as willing to take this into late game. Last time, if you guys remember, we got up to 16 farms on the back of 1 tier 1 warren each. I mean, there was 6 squirrels on the map with 32 pigs. Like, that was insane. Are we going to be that greedy this time around? The gentleman says yes and builds a gristmill before his first warren. Araloo's going to scout this, and I wonder if this is going to prompt aggression from him. You know, he did do an 8 farm opening, so it's not like he's got this crazy window. But no, he's just going to go ahead and take his own mill. And, ooh, the gentleman building some lizards behind this. I like this a lot. However, Araloo didn't quite fall for it, you know. I think the gentleman was trying to signal, like, hey, I'm just going to do nothing but build farms like I did last game. And, you know, give him the old switcheroo and build a whole bunch of lizards. But, you know, Araloo's opening was super safe. I actually really, really like Araloo's opening if you're looking for a build to just, like, copy to play with, like the 8 farm into 1 tier 1, into a gristmill, into another tier 1. I think that's a really safe way to open up with an expansion. And gentleman wants to apply some pressure, but unfortunately for him, Araloo hasn't gone super crazy on the expansion, so he's going to pull back for now. I'd like to see gentleman maybe take a farm. If he doesn't throw down a farm at this point, it's really signaling to me that that gristmill was just to try to bamboozle his opponent. Yeah, gentleman wants to get aggressive here. He's got a couple extra lizards on his opponent. Going to go ahead and plop down on the pig and take this engagement. And that winds up pretty well for him. You know, he trades these units pretty effectively here and picks up the pig. Gotta be happy about that. And this is rough if you're Araloo, because the gentleman's got tempo in the game now. And what I mean by that is Araloo's kind of got to play it by ear. He's not exactly sure, okay, is the gentleman going to continue to attack me? Is he going to tech up? Is he going to farm? Like, Araloo's a little bit on the defensive. And he's going to counterattack in. But the gentleman seems pretty ready for this. And Araloo actually gets a better engagement there, just from the positioning of the units. You gotta be careful with target firing too much with lizards, I feel, because they have to be in a neighboring tile to really fire. So if you're going too gung-ho on targeting where they don't have a whole lot of area to wiggle around, you could waste DPS. So Araloo on the aggressive path here. Very nice job. Finds an opening, finds a gentleman, not quite in position, picks up a pig, isn't greedy, gonna back out. Gentleman wants to take this engagement though, and is gonna grab a couple lizards for his trouble. Can't be disappointed with a couple free tier 1 units there. And gentleman kind of trying to feel out if he can take this a step further and push in, decides against it, comes home. A few more farms on the way for our long coats player. And yeah, both players really sticking to lizards. Both players trying to sneak out that second base economy whenever they can. Airlu coming in for another engagement. And this looks good for him. These lizard versus lizard fights really come down to positioning at the start of the fight. And the person who kind of jumps on the opponent, it feels like often gets that little bit of advantage. And another interesting thing to note too is Airlu taking out this farm over here was a little bit more effective than when the gentleman took out this one, because Airlu will most likely rebuild a pig there and capture that resource, and the gentleman will not on his main, because it's just not worth it at that point. Gentleman trying to poke in. I like the addition of the chameleons. Chameleons will do great here. Gentleman moves in for an engagement. Keep in mind, Airlu's got the defender's advantage here, and it works out for him. Airlu showing us how it's done here. Very nice. What's up, Brandy and Jacket Man? Epicosity, good to see everybody. I'm super hyped. How did you guys like this this tournament? Gentleman's always coming up with some really cool things, and so big shout out to him for this really interesting format. Of course, to my man Premium Bo, Big Pimpin' Tosh, Jed Erickson, everybody involved here with the event. AV Ultima as well. I forgot to invite him this time around. Hopefully I can get him on for the grand finals or something. Yeah, I like this transition into cams. I think that makes a lot of sense. Both players going for it here too. But now we're kind of back into this like bread and butter. You know, we got this single elim, best of 5, let's go tournament standing in front of us, which is kind of refreshing. You know, like I love the crazy stuff, but it's always nice to have this like just straight up tournament every now and then too. And I like how this event, you know, started off with this crazy thing and then just kind of ends it. You know, the icing on the cake is this like nice bracketed single elim tournament. Thanks again, Witty Pun, for covering me last Friday night. I apologize, everybody. I do try to do Tooth and Tail content every Friday night, but I had to work late, unfortunately. That happens from time to time. Airlu taking over a lot of this map in the form of Campfire is going to come in for another big engagement here. 4 cams against the 5 of the Gent with a handful of lizards on both sides, but so far it's looking like Airlu is plowing through this. Even has the chameleons left over. Look at that control. 2 of those chameleons just barely alive. Very good job from Airlu, pulling those chameleons back into the shadows when they were getting low. And this is looking good for Airlu. Gentleman's going to need a miracle to win these next couple engagements. Airlu's got the numbers. He's got the technology. He's got the micro. And he's going to plow through. And that is crippling damage. Gentleman knows it. Taps out. And we're up 2-0. The Gentleman. All right, I agree, Tosh. Come on, the Jet. You know, I don't have a dog in this fight, but I would like to see Gentleman take a map here, so we get more games tonight. So let's see it. Match number 3, Airlu up on game point. Spawning in the bottom right, killing it so far tonight. We've got Airlu, and his opponent to the left, rocking that fox ferret. I love it. We've got the Gentleman really needing to win here, too. I love the Gentleman's deck. I need to play more, man. I always say that. Every time I cast on Friday nights, I'm just like, damn, this game is so fun. I gotta get back into it. I gotta do my 1 hour Tooth and Tail a day. Let's go. It's really fun. And I think the scene right now is pretty healthy. A lot of people are playing online and stuff. But I'm curious why Gentleman went for this. Ferrets can actually perform pretty well. Better than I sometimes give them credit for, even in the early game. But it just feels like on paper, you know, Squizzard backed up by the cams would be stronger than Squizzard with the Ferret. But, you know, if you can get a balloon to fall back to, Maybe a little bit of barbed wire. The barbed wire is not going to help too much. And we've seen the gentleman against the chameleons, and we've seen him pick it twice this series and hasn't really been able to make good use of it. I think it's being picked because it's decent against lizards, and lizards seem to be really popular right now. So that's my theory. But the ferret fox balloon just synergizes really well. That doesn't need a lot of explanation. It's not quite meta at the moment, but it can still be done. I think it's fine. I think it's really good in situations like this, like a best of 5 or a best of 7, where you want to throw a different strategy in the mix. You know, you don't want to do that same thing over and over, but you know, some guys break the rules. You know, this guy breaks that rule, and Airlu's breaking that rule too. You know, Airlu's got the deck. It's kind of like two schools of thoughts in games like this, you know. Do you have a wide variety of things you can bring out, a menagerie of decks and build orders, or do you stick with one deck, stick with, you know, essentially one build, and say, I'm going to practice this so well, I'm going to do it right every time, and I don't care if my opponent knows what I'm doing, I'm just going to beat him with it regardless. And that's how Airlu's been playing this series, and so far it's been working for him. He no way, the gentleman! It was a bit of an early tap, but at the same time, not really. Like, Airlu, the snowball, the gentleman's played enough Tooth and Tail to know, you know, he got caught with his pants down a little bit there. That map had very small rush distance, a little bit of an anticlimactic end, but the gentleman will not be winning his own tournament. We are in single elimination now, so gentleman is out. And we can take a quick look at this thing again. So this is what we just did here. So Airlu's going to advance up, and now we've got Airlu versus this guy coming up next. And I believe this guy racked up the most meat. Yeah, so Airlu actually barely squeezed in here at the meat finals, just getting a little bit more than Red Dino did. Okay. So we got Airlu versus Red Dino coming up next. Hype for that. Oh, I'm sorry. Why am I thinking Red Dino? I got Dino on the mind, man. We got Airlu versus this guy coming up next, actually. So yeah, let's hop into it. Okay, spawning on the left. Fresh off a 3-0 victory, we've got Airlu. And his opponent to the right, rocking the double tier 3. You love him, you hate him. It's this guy. No signature skunks. I'm so excited for this guy's deck. Look at this deck. Oh man, I love it. Badger, woof. Let's go, boys. Can he make the dream happen? I mean, this has got to be... I wonder if these players are trying to, like, over-mind game. I have so many questions right now. You know, you're in a tournament. It's an important tournament, too. This is actually, like, a pretty big prize pool for a Tooth and Tail tournament. One of the larger ones we've had, I believe. And so this is an important match, right? And this, to me, at first glance, as a pleb here... You know, I love double tier 3. I love tier 3 units in general. Everyone knows that, but it's a meme, right? Like, is it actually competitive or is it fun? I mean, we know it's fun. Of course it's fun. And you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be competitive for this guy to bring it out here again for the variety, right? It's good to be unpredictable. But you know, when you're going up against someone like Airlu, and Airlu's style really reminds me of how this guy was playing for a long time, where, you know, you stick to one deck and you've got it really mapped out, you know how to use it. You know, this is the 4th game in a row we've seen Airlu rocking the exact same composition here in pretty similar openings, although Well, that's not true. He's actually done a lot of different builds. You know, he's got the same deck, but different builds. You know, he's going very tier 1 heavy here. And Lizard Toad is gonna be nice against Squizzard, maybe. It depends on the connections. The Toads are a little bit weaker this patch, but I think they still do well against the Lizards, of course. You know, you've got your cams to... You know, cams are just always such a nice tool to have for that mid-game. They're just such great units in direct engagements. And then, of course, the Pigeon is almost a necessity with the Badger. But from a competitive standpoint, I think what holds the Wolf back sometimes is it's oftentimes like a win more kind of unit, right? Like, most of the time you don't necessarily need it. You could have just built the equivalent of 360 food in tier 1, like 3 more tier 1 warrants. But as I often do, I'm probably overanalyzing it, as this guy is pushing forward and gonna try to get something done with all these Toads. Toads Magoad's coming in here. He's gonna try to bait Araloo in. Get some fantastic engagements with those Toads, but, you know, still comes out behind on the army value there. Which is kind of crazy to me, since those Toads did get such good hits, but this guy did attack into... You know, into the the defender's advantage, and Araloo lost a pig there, so that's definitely not irrelevant. So let's see what happens. Araloo is moving in for the engagement here. And he's gonna take a nice one. Damn, man, Araloo is on fire. This might be too much damage. I don't know if this guy can actually hold on. Man, that's insane. Araloo just plummeted through there. I mean, look at that. What exactly happened? I looked away for a moment, but I don't think anything. Like, I wonder why this guy's army value didn't continue to go up. Did he do something like throw down a tier 3 war and I missed it maybe? I'm not quite sure. I'm a little bit surprised Araloo won that engagement so hard. I apologize. I was a little distracted as he was coming in, but he just nailed it there. And this guy is going to try to bring it back to the other side of the map. He's got 4 chameleons here. He's got a lot of lizards. This is his chance to equalize this game. He really needs to get some solid damage here to come back into this. Gonna try to pick up another pig, and... Damn, one of those chameleons actually did not manage a stealth in time. So he's only going to come back home for 1. I don't think that was the damage this guy was looking for. Then again, the fight did start fairly well, and if you look at the supplies here, this guy's almost up to 4 cams. I like this. Araloo is very paranoid of the cam ambushes. You know, you can rally your chameleons, hold that button down, and they'll sneak over and try to pick off warrens and stuff like that. So when you know chameleons are up and running in a matchup, you really got to stay on your opponent's commander. It's good advice too if your opponent's using things like lizards. Like if you feel like you keep getting, you know, stretched thin by lizards, they're hitting you from every which way. My advice is like just try to stay on top of your opponent's commander's positioning. Nice job there, this guy. That was actually really smart. He continued to bait Araloo back, making him think he was going to bring in the chameleon harassment, and indeed he did, but just on the other side of the base. And I think Araloo's had enough, thinking about moving out, actually getting up to 6 cams here. Only 5 remaining, but this guy really doesn't have a whole lot to his name. Araloo is being a bit timid. He needs to feel it out a little bit more. Obviously, it's a lot easier for us because we do know exactly the state of the game, and Erlu's kind of got to piece that together with limited information, but decides he can go in. Try to get this done. That's so many chameleons. Erlu on fire tonight. Racking up his 4th win in a row against 2 of Tooth and Tail's best players. Okay. Let's keep the pain train moving. Spawning on the bottom left, memeing it up, it looks like. We've got this guy. And his opponent to the top right, Erlu. Man, I'm never sure anymore. You know, again, we see Erlu, this exact same deck, this exact same comp. This guy. 3 defense here. With the board to back it up. What's the strategy? What's the overall game plan? Are you taking all that defense so you can create a contain? It doesn't seem like you'd really want to turtle up, because you don't have anything like the Falcons that scale into the late game really well, or hell, even the Badger. Like, the Boar is really strong at 2 things. It's strong at a very specific timing attack, you know, on like 1.5 bases. You move out when your opponent's being a little too greedy, try to catch him off guard. It's almost like a sneaky move. It's like this 1.5 push where you're trying to hide that Boar Warren and catch your opponent, you know, not expecting it. Or the Boar can be a nice addition to a late game army. Both players here really quick grist bills, but as we've seen in the past, sometimes players opt to do that to just kind of signal false information to their opponents. You know, you don't necessarily have to put any farms over there. This guy's going to opt to put down a couple. Erlu takes 1 of their own. So we'll see. This guy gets a nice little scout and actually gets a full scout, which is really nice. In the early game like this, it's pretty easy to keep track of your opponent's money. So you can see, you know, you can think, okay, if I've placed 9, you know, 3 tier 1 Warrens and 2 Farbs, and he's got, you must have some kind of combination thereof that adds up to the same amount, you know. Otherwise, they're hiding something. But counting food gets more and more difficult as the game progresses. Oh, I'm curious if Erlu's going to sell any of these farms. No, he's going big. And he's seen this guy take half a second base. He's going to come in here. Ooh. Oh, yeah, realizes can't get up that way. Going to come in and see that he's taken the rest of the base. So Erlu's going to be pretty happy with that decision, I think, to go ahead and saturate up. And let's see, this could turn into a big fat macro game if the players decide on that. You know, plenty of gristmills are still available to both sides here. But nothing super crazy yet. You know, Erlu's just going to build into a lot of tier 2 like we've seen him do in the past. You know, 4, 6 chameleons, 2 to 4 skunks, and then you can just start throwing falcons on from there. I like this little hit squad of lizards. Gonna try and come over here and get something done. Good sells here from this guy. Only loses a little bit of money there. Could have lost a whole lot more. More Warren has finally been placed down. And I wonder if you're Erlu, if you're thinking, you know, I haven't seen anything but squirrels. Like, what the hell is even in this guy's deck? Like, nothing but squirrels. No lizards, nothing else. I wonder if that's signaling some kind of red flag. Meanwhile, this guy's Doesn't actually see any tier 2 Warrens yet, surprisingly. He's gonna come in here and see that now, and... You know, this guy's really putting all his eggs in this big squirrel boar push basket here. You know, this guy's trying to be the one-punch man and just come in and knock out his opponent in a single blow. But Airlu has got a better deck scaling forward, in my opinion. You know, Airlu's putting together a really strong composition, you know, that can really handle most things. I think maybe something like Badgers, you know, would give Airlu's deck trouble. But Airlu's deck is so well-rounded, it doesn't feel like it really has any direct counters or really obvious weaknesses. And he's moving forward. The boar is here to help out. And this is a lot of squirrels. You can never estimate just a crap ton of squirrels. And yeah, this works for this guy. He pushes his opponent back for now. I was actually a little bit worried for him because of the skunk presence here. You know, I figured that might have been enough to bust some of these back a little bit. And this guy's coming in with the big push, and he's got to deal crippling damage here, in my opinion. Boar's still got plenty of HP. Good control here so far. And as we saw in the previous match with the gentleman, like, one of the advantages of just having so many tier 1 Warrens is that your army just replicates so quickly and gets back out there in no time, you know. He could produce 13 squirrels at once. It's insane. But if Airlu takes this engagement correctly, gets some good skunk clouds down, you know, gets the right amount of damage on that boar, maybe target it with the falcon, but that's it, you know. Here we go, another good engagement. The squirrel's actually kind of buffering, kind of like being the lineman here for the boar, but this guy's just gonna jump on it. And these skunks have just been murdering these squirrels, man. God. That skunk gas just really nullifying this mass squirrel strategy here. But again, just the Zap Brannigan style of just throwing more and more at your opponent. Man, those skunks really saved the day for Airlu, I feel like. And as Airlu can keep a couple tier 2 left over in between these fights, you know, the strategy from this guy is just going to get a little bit less and less effective over time. You know, the only way this is really going to work for this guy is if he's able to, you know, trade out all these tier 1 for these tier 2 constantly, and he's simply not able to. You know, these skunks with some good positioning, with some good terrain to abuse, can just get such monumental value, especially when you get into, like, 4 of them. Like, 4 skunks is so insane. The amount of gas they can get out, they can just cover everything. And Airlu's just waiting to get this big buildup of tier 2 units. This guy's got one more push in him once this other boar comes out. And after that, I feel like, you know, Airlu, as long as they can keep these tier 2 pieces put together, is just going to have the better comp. And here we go. Airlu's actually going to hit right before this boar finishes. And yeah, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't when there's that much skunk cloud, you know? Like, if you're going to micro your squirrels out of the gas, then they're not going to be firing, and they're going to take so much damage. If you don't micro your skunks out of the, or the squirrels out of the gas, then they're going to die of the gas. Here's the boar, but the boar is just not really effective against an army that only has 6 lizards. Gonna come in and roast down a couple of those skunks. It's pretty nice to pick up, but Airlu on a roll. 5 wins in a row. Can we just, like, follow Airlu's path to the grand finals here? He just wins the whole thing undefeated. It's insane. I think Airlu's playing very well. He's figured out a great deck that works awesome in this meta. Has very few inherent weaknesses. Let's go. Let's see if this guy can bring it back and turn this into a series, or if this is going to be another 3-0 for Mr. Airlu. Let's find out. Spawning in the bottom right, we've got this guy. And his opponent to the top left, Airlu. Man, this guy's just memeing it up. He's a meme machine. I think we saw him do this in the last event, too. Like, near the finals or something. Like, I don't think I can spin this one, right? Like, this has just got to be a meme deck. 3 tier 3. Squirrel. Let's go. If this guy wins this, I'll eat my shoe. Like, this is crazy. This is what I would expect to see at like 1 in the morning. You know, we're a little drunk, we're just screwing around in like an unranked lobby. Tosh says it's not a meme. And it works pretty well. Alright, man, I'll take your word for it. It looks memey to me. So you must have a lot of faith in this like wonky composition, though. You know, when you're on such an important tournament match. Like, if this guy loses this map, he just loses. He's out. Okay, here's the proxy mill. Airlu hasn't scouted it, so getting up a couple turrets could be nice. But Airlu actually going for the bait and switch here. Like, I think this meta of a lot of tier 2 gives some room for the Fox. I think that could be done. You know, Airlu's gonna sniff this out immediately. Airlu probably even saw the mill there. He hasn't, but he's about to. Wow, he doesn't see it. I don't blame him. There's no reason to really expect this guy to make a mill there. You know, contained strategies like this aren't very meta. Lots of turrets up on the front. What are you up to, this guy? Show me. I'm ready. What the hell is this guy doing? Thank you, gentlemen. I agree. What is happening? Oh, that's actually pretty cute. Like, he's not going to be able to get up to that tier 3 Warren, ever. Like, 4 turrets is just so much. But if Airlu figures out that this guy is just doing crazy nonsense, can't he just attack his main and win the game? What's up, Michael in chat? Yeah, man, people still play pretty often. And we got new people all the time. There's a couple new players that are in this tournament. A lot of... The Discord is really popping. In my opinion, that's the best way to play, is make sure you're on the Discord and, you know, pop in and say, hey, does anybody want to play some matches? You know, if you're playing prime time, there'll be people in ranked. But yeah, this is what I was afraid of, you know. I love what this guy's doing. It's creative, it's stylish, it's cool. But Airlu just comes in and smashes his face. And you know, this isn't what I would have went for if my tournament life was on the line here. You know, I think if this guy would have just played straight up, you know, he probably could have beaten Airlu. Airlu is a phenomenal player, but so is this guy. But hey, the Owl's almost out. But the Owl is not a super impactful unit by itself. It needs a lot of support, or it needs multiple Owls. And Airlu is just going to stomp his way up into the quarterfinals here, by the looks of it. This guy's got an Owl, $300 in a dream. And yeah, you know, gonna come in, gonna get something done with these mice, but this is all she wrote, you know. I apologize for not being super hype here, but I don't want to be disingenuous, you know what I mean? And there it is, Araloo, stomping his way up into these quarterfinals here. And Tosh defending that deck. Hey man, you play more than I do, so you could be right, but looked like a meme deck to me. Very good job from Araloo, though. I don't want to take anything away from him. You know, he played phenomenally these past few games. Really coming out and showing, you know, newer. He's not super new anymore. I've seen him around for quite some time, but not as long as players like the Gentleman or this guy. You know, he's coming in and saying, hey, you know, new blood can come in and knock you out if you're not careful. Speaking of new blood, we've got some more coming up here. We've got Brandy versus Epicosity. I know Brandy's new. I'm not sure how new Epicosity is. So let me see. Am I missing anything? I think we're all straight. I think we're good to go here. So let's do it. Quarterfinal number 2. Araloo advancing up. So we just finished this kind of side of the bracket here. And Araloo taking it up to quarterfinal number 3. And now we're going to hop over to quarterfinal number 2 here. Between Brandy and Epicosity. Alright, let's hop into it. I think everything's ready. Let's rock and roll. When's the next episode? Next episode's on Sunday, right? Sunday with Tosh? I think so. On the left, we've got Brandy. Her opponent to the right, we've got Epicosity. Okay, some pretty cool decks here. I like the ferrets. I think both these strats are neat. Got that Badger style. Me personally am more of that Brandy style over here. I like to have my tier 3 unit in my deck, but in this meta, running something like Epicosity is perfectly fine. I do like the balloon, actually, because it can help out against those boar pushes. It can give you a lot of vision and just overall control on the map. And you know, if you place a balloon in a really good spot, like imagine it goes down like right there on that triple high ground, really. You know, that could just make it very crazy to try to push in. But this is actually a pretty small rush distance here. I'm curious which base the players decide to take for their second. You know, you can do the bold strat, try to place your flag out here on the map and take one of these two. Or you can play it a little safer. Both players kind of have that like bold option. Both players kind of have that safer option. I mean, there's no way both these bases would exist simultaneously. So the player to try to like come out here and gain some momentum on the map to do that could really create a lot of issues for their opponent. And I think Brandy's definitely got the map advantage here. You know, for one, this natural base is on this double high ground. That's very nice. And for two, you know, they got this extra expansion up here. Actually, this one's kind of a pain in the ass to get to. You gotta run like all the way around this way to actually get up there. But once you've planted it, you can easily just burrow over there and it's not as big of a deal. So far, both players stuck in that tier 1 chicken, as I like to call it, where it can be kind of awkward to transition out of tier 1 because then you give your opponent a little bit of a window where they can come in and attack you. But if Epicosity wants to step out, decides against taking this gristmill for now, maybe just wants to invest as much food into that army as humanly possible. And is pushing forward. It's actually caught Brandy at an opportune time. Comes in and takes a very good fight for himself, continues moving forward. And all of a sudden, this game might be over in a flash. Brandy's units caught a little bit out of position there. And now Epicosity has a lot of momentum. He's still got a good chunk of units clumped up together, getting some real damage done here to Brandy's base. And Brandy can't quite rally up enough units to defend this. This might be the point of no return. Yeah, without any Warrens left, this is a little bit rough. I think Brandy's just kind of coming in to see what their opponent did. And Epicosity gonna take a quick, aggressive match number 1 here. Okay, let's hop into match number 2. Let's go. Alright, in the bottom we've got Epicosity. Their opponent up top, Brandy. Let's see, looks like Epicosity's keeping that same deck. Meanwhile, Brandy's changing it up a little bit this time. These maps aren't quite as aggressive as the previous map was. So there might be a little more breathing room for different strategies here. Also, second bases are kind of awkward, to be honest. Like, I guess Epicosity's kind of got this base that's a little bit safe over here. But if you're Brandy, you know, you can try to expand over to the right. I feel like whoever takes one of these gristmills kind of gets them all. So maybe that's the plan if you're Brandy, and they've got some turrets here that could help out with that sort of thing. Yeah, these are replays. We do a mix of replays and live stuff for tournaments, just kind of depending on the availability of the players. You know, a lot of people play in different time zones and stuff all over the world. So we've got, we often find for tournament events, a lot of, well, it depends. I don't want to say a lot of times. Sometimes we do live events. Jed Erickson's been doing a lot of those lately with his Vishal Qualnaz tournaments. And then other times, we kind of have an event where it's like, hey, here are your matchups for the week. You know, schedule a time at both your convenience to get it knocked out before next Friday or whatever. Which is kind of cool. I never look at I'm never spoiled. So I never, even when I just do like my replay casting show, I never know who's going to win. Or I never watch the replays beforehand or anything like that. Yeah, Woody Pun doing the Pocket Bot. Yep. That's another live one. Man, I want to get into the Pocket. I might try to catch the American time one sometime. I think the European one always happens while I'm at work. Epicosity coming in for the cams here. Meanwhile, Brandy is pushing forward, racking up some tier 1 at the moment. Nobody's really crazy committing to anything just yet. Does Brandy know about the tier 2? They do not. And here's that gristmill. And again, you know, Brandy might be able to dig their feet in a little bit here, set up a turret or something, and really just try to eco up on the back of these bases. This is a pretty awkward map for both sides. I don't quite think they're going to get the territory expansion up onto the high ground here. Oh, yeah, they do. Very nice. So you could actually, like, throw down a turret, like, right there on that high ground. That'd be really good to defend, like, both bases. And Epicosity's going to move out. Brandy's not quite in position, but gets back over. Commander positioning is so important in this game, and the Chameleons are here. Brandy does a good job of targeting those down immediately, and is taking this fight a lot better than I thought they would. But Epicosity does run over for now. Those Chameleons do such a good job in little skirmishes like this. Brandy's got the defender's advantage, though. Definitely not down and out just yet. A couple Warrens are starting to fall, but Brandy should have enough to defend this. The one Warren falling actually really does hurt, because that'd be an extra unit right here, right now. Another Warren going down. This is some real damage that Epicosity is dealing. But, you know, Brandy's been trading armies pretty well. Knocked out the cams, and does hold. Needs to get some more tier 1 established very quickly. But Epicosity's done a good job of trading efficiently and getting some damage done. You know, getting that gristmill down, getting those couple warrens down. The emergency turrets are coming up, but not quite on the spot where Epicasi is attacking. The Chameleon again here on the front lines to really help deal some extra damage to these tier 1 compositions. Another warren going down, and Epicasi now looks like they've busted through. We're gonna go to 2-0 very shortly. Good attack there from Epicasi. You know, those Chameleons do a really good job in engagements like this. Valiant effort here from Brandy. We're gonna have to tap. And yeah, I don't mind this little scout. You know, what exactly did my opponent have? It's always good to try to learn from your losses. You know, the replay system is really invaluable. Also, of course, you can shoot me replays at ToothAndTailTV@gmail.com, and I kind of analyze them live. More for fun, though, than super crazy hard analytics. Yes, definitely watch your replays. It's the best way to get better at the game. You don't get better from winning, you get better from losing. Okay. Let's see if Brandy can pull it back in match number 3. Spawning in the bottom right, we've got Brandy. And their opponent to the top left, Epicasi. Again, this has kind of been like the story of the night, right? Where one player is sticking with the same deck while the other player tries all these different things. And I like Brandy's comp here. I think it's kind of no nonsense. You know, straightforward. You can get in there with Squizzard Cam. Let's go. So it should be interesting. Let's see. Epicasi has got a decent spawn. This is a really awkward spawn for Brandy. If they can get out on the map, they could be in a decent spot, you know, to eventually, like, capture all of this. And actually, that would be pretty sick. Like, that'd be cool if... Oh, wait, got a little bit of mole shenanigans here. Brandy trying to pull a fast one, and so far, I don't think Epicasi has seen it, but Epicasi did build a... Yeah, Epicasi knows what's up. Good scouting on their part. Noticed some food was missing from the 8-farm opening, and shifts over to a 7-farm double. But is it going to be enough? I'm curious how many... If Brandy's going to wait for all the moles. This cube farm blocking a couple of these. And Epicasi's looking for it. I think they've got to know by now that there's probably moles out on the map. And Brandy's going to come over and try to pilot those. Oh, might actually catch Epicasi while they're out and about. Yeah, they could actually rally the moles from here. It's not going to be as clean, but I think that's the move to make, because running all the way over here, now we're going to be in a weird spot. However, 6 moles, if they just target fire the mill, does that just win? Does that just win the game? Targeting the pigs. Getting a lot of damage done. Oh, and the commander goes down for Epicasi. This is a crazy situation now. The moles do finally go down. But I think Epicasi's gonna have enough here. Nice attempt on the mole rush. But Epicasi stepping out on the map, no nonsense, shutting it down. And nice try, Brandy. I think it was a fun strat to throw in there. So you probably need like 9 nowadays. I don't know the exact math on it. You might have been able to, because they get the crit. Yeah, full of pigs, probably not. But the crit time, the crit would definitely help. You probably need 9 moles to just get in there and target fire it down, because the pigs are gonna mess up those moles pretty hard. But yeah, that's it for the matches tonight, guys. We had 2 3-0 sweeps. So yeah, a little bit of a shorter stream on this one, I suppose. Maybe we could play a couple matches if anybody feels like it. So let's do that. I'd be down to play a game or two. I don't think I can hang out for too long, but I will play a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop the stream here for editing purposes. Thanks everybody for tuning in.